Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to be building my dream E-Type here at ECD Auto Design. From taking an initial look at the new car to building up my specification on the configurator, we're then going to head to the production hall to see how the new cars are assembled before taking one out for a drive, getting behind the wheel to see what it's like. Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me here outside of Orlando in Florida at ECD Auto Design, where I came to visit to check out the Defenders before. Well, they've now added the E-Type to their portfolio. We're surrounded by some cars to take a look at, and there's a lot today to take in as we build a dream E-Type. Following on from the success of the Defenders and the Range Rovers, a new British icon has been added to ECD's lineup, the Jaguar E-Type. In fact, when the E-Type was launched, Enzo Ferrari himself called it the most beautiful car in the world. These are the Series 3 from the early 1970s, and you'll probably be surprised to know this is actually an electric car. This one has a full EV conversion. This, however, has a 6.2 litre V8, but the options for customization and personalization are almost endless, and that's what I want to bring you through today. And then we're going to head here to see how the cars come together from arriving on site, all being stripped down and then completely built to bespoke specifications, whether it's an EV, whether it's with a V8, whatever it might be, to understand more of this process, to go along the assembly line, to see how it all comes together, to see the interiors, to see all of the details, to build an ECD E-Type. Back into the design studio. This is where we have the original Range Rover, the Defender 90, and in fact, this particular example is actually electric. We also have the Defender 110s with a whole host of options. Maybe we can take a look at those later, because today we're here to check out these. ECD Auto Design's new E-Type, based on the Series 3. Now, the E-Type originally launched back in the 1960s. The Series 3 arrived in 1971, built until 1975. At the time, it had a 5.3 litre V12, which was not exactly the most powerful or lightest engine in the world. A few different options are available from ECD, which we'll touch more on later. These being the convertibles, the roadsters, the open-topped variants, but of course also able to work on the coupes, the 2+2s as well. There's a lot to take in though when it comes to them, and there's no denying that the E-Type is a beautiful looking car. The Series 3 effectively slightly larger, slightly more space inside, slightly more comfort on the road, hence the model of choice for this particular basis. And as you can see from these cars, some of the earliest of the line to have been assembled, with a list extending out for customer orders from this point forwards. The level of quality and the available finishes and different things that they can work on is what truly separates them apart from anything else, even down to having different seats, as this car has the Recaros, as opposed to working from the originals that you can see in here. This is where you have the subtle integration there of the display panel in the center, which is linked to your electric system. In here, there are two batteries up in the front, replacing the positioning of the engine, and a third in towards the rear, replacing the fuel tank, the advantage of which is maintaining the weight distribution as you have in a normal combustion engine variant, as you do here, for example. But I think to learn a little bit more about the cars we are looking at, we're going to be joined by Elliott, who's going to tell us a little bit more.
This particular model, this is a 1973 Jaguar E-Type. This is the soft top version. So this has had a full ECD restoration and modernization. So underneath the hood, we've got a Chevrolet LT1, which is 450 brake horsepower. We have an 8-speed automatic transmission, which is all brand new, and that's all connected up to the Jaguar limited slip differential at the rear end. So we have made some changes on the inside of the car as well. So as you can see in here, we've got Recaro seats, which add a bit more comfort. They are a bit bulkier, but they are far more comfortable. We have a fully rebuilt custom console here. This houses our AC system, replacing the Jaguar AC system. We have a Bluetooth radio, which allows us to connect smartphones and normal devices like that. And then we've even got a little ashtray conversion from a Mark I Jag, because we thought the chrome was far nicer than plastic. We've also changed our gauges. We wanted to keep an original look, but these have to work with the Chevy drivetrain. So this is all new, all digital. And then we have all brand new switchgear, which is actually original Jaguar stock. So we're trying to keep little cues where we can.
So we keep talking about the engine, the
Yes.
V8. Can we take a look at it?
Yeah, of course. No
Pop
problem.
open the front,
Yeah.
the procedure.
Let me start the process.
pulling the latches on each side of the car to open that up.
Double safety.
And we'll have to take a look as well afterwards at the difference with the electric powertrain. Completely different setup between the two cars here.
Okay.
Oh, that's simple.
Yeah, not so bad. Rehearsed.
Lovely.
Okay, so brand new Chevy LT1. So like I said, this is 450 horsepower, fuel injected, the latest generation of Chevy crate motors. This is the non-supercharged version. We do offer it in a supercharged as well.
Which would make how much power?
650 horsepower at the crank. Yeah, with a screaming supercharger as well.
And not exactly a heavy car.
Exactly. Custom cooling, so we have a big radiator built up front there. That's all custom built to this car. AC system works as it should. Uprated braking, so this has 6-pot fronts, 4-pot rears, and that's Fosway Racing from the UK. So lots of nice upgrades everywhere. Suspensions are fully upgraded, so we've got completely adjustable suspension front and back, so we can set the ride exactly as we want it and really dial the car in to what we need.
So I'm going to experience it with you shortly, but it's sounding to me like we're talking the elegance and the style and the classiness of the E-Type, but in a car that you can use all the time.
Yeah, I mean that is the beauty of these new Chevy motors. They start, they run, they drive. It's why we use them on so many of the trucks and cars we build, because they're just reliable, serviceable, and people love them.
Under here then, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, slightly different. So this is our 3-module system in here. This will give us about 150 to 200 miles of range, around 350 horsepower at the motor. 0 to 60, we're estimating it's going to be around 4 seconds with the EV system. It's got all your normal conveniences, so you've got AC, you've got power steering, you've got vacuum assist brakes, we've got a normal heat and AC system. It also allows us to add creep mode, cruise control, all the things that you expect from
a modern car,
yes,
not
exactly.
From an E-Type. That's not what you expect to find in an E-Type. And then inside, no doubt, yes, you've had to change gauges and suit it to the powertrain.
So we've tried to keep the gauges looking relatively original, but these are all geared up for EV. So you can see the rev counter is now amps. We've got battery temperature, battery level, and then we've got motor temp, and then voltage and the 12-volt system.
It must be quite fun actually to plan out.
Yeah, it's nice. We really like to try and keep a good blend of old and new, and then we really like to try and keep it feeling like an original Jag. So I think in here, like the big change is obviously this. So we've got the push button shifter because it has to be CAN bus for this system. But then we do have a home screen control where we can change all our settings. We can look at our charge rates. We can look at our sort of estimated range that we're going to get for the drive. It's just a little bit more integration with the EV system and the car and the driver.
And this is talking about what's under the skin, because there's a lot that can be done with the surface configuration.
Yes.
Which I'm going to have some fun with in a bit. I think before that, I should go and find out how you actually build one of these.
It's a good idea.
We're going to have a quick look at what this is like when the car is powered up. So this is the bespoke system and setup for it.
Yeah, so this is our home screen. So this is what every driver will see. So we wanted there to be a bit more connection between the driver and the EV system. A lot of systems don't offer anything like this, so we really wanted something that had a connection where you can play with things and change settings and see information. So on this screen, we've got the options to turn our climate control to cool or heat. We can turn our cruise control on and off. We've got our drive modes where we've got eco, normal and sport. We can turn regen braking on or off because some people like it, some people don't.
Yep.
And then we've also got the idle creep to make it drive a bit more like a traditional automatic vehicle where you let off the brake and the car will just slowly creep forwards.
And also various other screens like the energy display and the status monitor.
Yep, so in here we can turn data logging on and off if you're wanting to do some more investigations in things. But we have more of a in-depth view of like cell voltage, battery voltage. So if you're driving it hard, you can really monitor all of the systems and make sure that everything's running as you want it to.
On the outside, everything's straight from the 60s, 70s.
Yes.
Nobody back then would have thought that could one day.
No, I mean, no, not at all. It's very different, but it's nice. I mean, it's fun, and it's a way of keeping these cars relevant, keeping them with like the next generation of people that are going to be buying these cars, like people like us.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the original V12 was shockingly slow, and they leak oil and they stink. This does none of those things, so it's fun. It's just fun.
We move towards assembly now. To find out a little bit more about the different processes, we are joined by the production manager for the South Line, Charles.
Hey, how's it going? So here we're on our South Line, as he stated, and we are doing a restoration of the Jaguar E-Types. Here, unlike our Defender, we're doing a true restoration. We're reusing a large portion of the original car, obviously all the suspension, the original diff and subframe. We're taking those parts, we're sandblasting, we're powder coating them, and we're putting them back on the car with new bearings, new seals, bringing them back up to their original luster, so to speak.
So where does it begin? The car arrives with you.
So the car arrives and it begins over in our teardown bay. So that we typically get a 71 to 74 Roadster, or 2+2, which you see up here. We do a full tear down of the vehicle, all the way down to the base body. We take all the bracketry, all the coatings off. So as you can see over here in this one, this is a good example. We have to take all the coatings off the car, the underbody, all the drive tar and everything that gets on the underside of the car, because sometimes we just don't see what is truly there, as you can see right here.
So all of these holes, those are all covered until you've stripped everything off.
Completely covered. We had no idea any of this wear was here until you get all of the coating off.
And you could repair that, or what are the kind of options at that stage?
We can, and sometimes we do decide to just do patch repairs if it's minimal. When we get this much, especially this is a main cross member area here, we'll actually cut this out, and what we do is we have a relationship with a vendor in the UK where we get genuine Jaguar panels, so we get them shipped over. We actually will take this entire section out and we'll replace all of this. So when we have something like this where we have this much repair work, we will actually cut this entire section out and we'll replace this entire pan. So these are fully available parts, and we'll just restore the whole thing so we can bring it back to its original proper contours. I mean, the big thing about the Jaguars, where you see it, they have these beautiful curves, and you can't just replace this by, over time you're gonna just keep trying to fabricate it back. It's better to just restore all of it. So we bring it back to its original factory curves.
So I've spotted over here, you have some of the front clams.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we have our bonnets for the next two cars over here. We've obviously already stripped these down and prepped them. Same thing with the bodies. We have to strip them all the way down. We obviously see with the front opening bonnet on these, the lips get damaged very commonly. So we've had to replace those pretty commonly as parts. Sometimes we've seen rust in here from water damage, so we've had to replace those as well. So these are getting ready to go to our body prep. So from here, we'll actually go ahead and show you the body prep real quick, so you can see a full body in its process.
Because this is a really time-consuming part.
It is,
to prep everything.
Yes, yep. We spend, that's probably the biggest bulk difference between the Defender line and the Jaguar line, is we are very front-end heavy. We spend probably about 40 days just getting to this point, and we haven't even rolled into paint yet. So here you can see he's blocking the body for the next car. This is where I was telling you we go around the car with an epoxy primer, and then we do a coat of Bondo to bring any highs and lows and fix that. And then he's going to go around the car with 5 different levels of grit 5 times to make sure the car is perfect everywhere around. He's also going to take contour gaugers and the linear blocking tools that you see there and there, and he's going to restore all the original contours, make everything back to factory beautiful.
And that's before it heads to the paint shop.
Before it even heads to the paint shop.
Bespoke colors and all of the other details.
So we're getting close to 2 months in at this point.
Okay.
And we haven't even touched it, building it back up.
And then it heads to the line.
And then it heads to the line.
As if by magic, right?
Yeah.
The cars are here.
Yeah. And as if by magic. So from there, it'll roll to our paint shop, which is obviously on the other side of the building. It'll go through and get all of its subframes, bonnet, boot lid, doors, and the body painted. It'll roll out to us here on the line, and we'll start doing the build-up. So here is our first phase on the actual line and build-up. This is where we'll do all of our subframes. We'll get our rear diff that has now been rebuilt with new seals, all new diff parts, back into the car, get brakes on it, wheels, get the drivetrain in. In the case of this one, you see is an EV, we'll get the batteries mounted. Rear one's getting ready to be mounted. The two front ones are in now. Motor is mounted down there where roughly the bell housing would be. We'll get all of our radiators in.
And this is where all the sub-assemblies come together, because I know you have the additional facilities for wiring harnesses.
Yep, so you have wiring, obviously our sub-cosmetics for doors, and then our upholstery. So this is essentially they're working, they're building the parts that are going to be put on at the next phase, with the exception of the sub-electrics, which is some of our sub-wiring that they would have already had out to us. And
so how long is the car
to do
at each stage?
So each stage, we're on a 20-day takt time right now for these. So this is where we're probably about 10 days in right here.
Okay.
So you're pretty close to where it's going to be moving. You can see the rear wheels are already on, front wheels are soon to be on. So we'll be rolling pretty soon.
Rolling onwards.
We're rolling onwards.
So
we'll roll to
2+2.
phase 2. And phase 2 is where we're going to get all of our cosmetics. So we talked about our upholstery is going to start getting the leather wrapped. We're going to start getting our seats and our dash. This one in particular is our 2+2. So this is our we did a two-tone. So you have the black dash with the tan interior.
And this is where bespoke trims, details,
any way you want it.
Yeah. Even materials, leathers.
Even materials. For instance, on these, what's interesting is we've started to do full metal dash inlays. So the center dash, we're offering brushed aluminum, carbon fiber, and actual material, which we haven't even done on the Defender line yet. So we're even innovating on this line and starting to bring in those just further custom options that people want.
Makes sense.
If you say, I want a full carbon fiber center console gauge, we got it.
You can have it.
We're already doing it.
Now, there's something a little bit different about this particular car.
There is, yeah. So this is our phase 3. So this is really where we're going to get our final touches on the car. QC, we'll start getting our miles out there, making sure that the car drives the way we want it to drive, doing any changes after getting our information back from the driver. We'll get kind of a play-by-play of how they felt, didn't like how it ran or loved it, tighten this up. We'll do all those in this stage here. This one is really unique. So this is the original V12, but it's got a bit of a change to it. So we've boarded over to a 6.1. We've converted it to fuel injection and velocity stacks.
Okay.
So making quite a bit more horsepower than it did from the factory.
So complete engine restoration.
Yes.
Could change it to an LT1, an LT4, could change it to an EV powertrain.
Yep.
In this case, keeping a 12-cylinder, but bringing it up to scratch.
Yeah, again, it's really bespoke. It's what the customer wants. So if you look at the inside and the gauge cluster on this one, he was really going for kind of a bomber aircraft look, even with the switches.
Yeah, okay.
So we've kind of correlated what he wanted into the build, but he wanted the original V12 engine, and that's what he got.
So what happens with mileage testing before the cars are delivered?
So we'll get about 500 miles on the car. We really want to get it far enough along where we can make sure there's no bugs in the car. We get everything worked out. We get its first oil change, and really make sure that it drives the way we want it to drive. We obviously put in, we have sport steering racks now, sport brakes, so they've a lot of upgrades on the car. We want it to drive like it's got those upgrades.
Yeah.
You know, the obviously really large steering radius of the original Jaguars, where you could barely get in and out of here with it one. We now, obviously, this thing is very sporty. They're great to take around turns. They're just really amazing with the setups and the upgrades that we offer.
Awesome. I think it's probably time for me to head to the configuration setup and go and build a spec for one and see how it comes together. We've come back through now to the design studio. It's time for me to have a go on the configurator and build an ECD E-Type. So as you can see up on the display, we have the British Racing Green example, but to go through this in more detail, we are joined today by John.
Hey there. Yeah, and this is really where the fun begins.
This is the customer journey. There's a fair bit to it. That car can change in so many different ways.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can you talk us a little bit through all of this?
Well, as you can see, I have some leathers, paint samples, or E-Type brochure that our clients will be able to go through and navigate anywhere from powertrain, brakes, leather textures, leather weave, paint finishes. All that, of course, will be honed into this graphic virtual design for them, so they can get a sense of where their vision is going.
And we've been having a play with this.
Absolutely.
And you can change a lot. wheels, tires, exhaust, interior trims, you can completely turn it into a different vehicle to what we've started with. You can go with a kind of dark chrome, black, totally different look.
Yep.
It's up to the imagination. You must see all different types of ideas.
Oh, you cannot imagine. It's a lot of fun, though.
I can imagine you're directing and guiding clients. So we've been talking a little bit about this and about the different theme that we can do, but I'd like to draw attention to this first, because this is really cool.
This is very special, and we do this for every client. This belongs to a donor vehicle that we brought in for a client's project. So this is a way for them to remember the old car, and of course having something that will show them the heritage of the vehicle, but of course the car that they're getting is a brand new car. And it's virtually brand new.
It's the gift that they receive when the donor car is sourced and stripped down.
Yep, yeah, part of our process.
So I had a bit of a theme, and in some ways it's similar to what's up on the screen, but I always like to do things a little bit differently. We've got green to start with.
Yep.
A very popular colour for the E-Types.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've had a fair few.
Yes.
But I want to be inspired by one of my cars and go for a very vibrant royal blue.
Love it. Absolutely. We can make that happen for you.
Literally, just like
there you go.
As if by magic. But this is where, like, picking a color is one thing. Interiors.
That's right. I mean, we only have a small sample here, but our clients would indicate what color hues they want to consider, and that's when the samples come handy. Of course, we don't just suggest something. We want to show the client, make sure that they can touch and feel, and of course make sure that exactly the interior that they envision is the way that it'll come to be. So as you can see, of course, we can also play with those elements on the rendering. So if you want to look at a darker tan or a lighter beige, black, whatever the case may be, we can play with that until we find the right point. And sometimes we do it right away. Sometimes it may take a few tries, as you realized before.
Yeah, so building this up, we're just getting a sample here, an idea of what's possible.
That's right.
I like the idea of this royal blue exterior over a dual tone blue and cream inside.
Yeah, that's stunning. And look at him. I mean, Tyler's so good that he jumps in ahead.
He's already
making those changes for us.
It's happening as we go, but you can play with different portions. You've got the different switch gear. You've got the different elements inside.
Exactly.
So it literally builds up as we're talking about
it.
Obviously, there are so many different approaches to a car like this. I've gone for this kind of modern but still classic look.
Yep.
I think more modern style paint.
Well, of course, that every client has a different angle and a different vision in mind. So with this renderings, of course, we give them the opportunity to play with certain elements, like, you know, if you want to have a larger screen for your stereo, more modern, of course, CarPlay, things like that. We can post something like that for them, or an automatic transmission instead of a manual. We can change that on the fly for them as well to see how the cabin will start shaping up. In the outside of the car, the mirrors, they want to have the more race style cone shaped mirrors like that, or if they want to have the more traditional series 3s closer to the windshield, we can play with those elements, of course, until we find the right mix for them. So it's a great tool. I tell you, I think our clients absolutely love this, and being able to make those changes on the fly, it's just fantastic.
So you can see literally the different mirrors being placed and moved around and shuffling. I think we'll go for the race style. There's something always cool about that. You might not have the best visibility in the world, but they suit it really, really nicely.
They look incredible. Yeah.
Keeping all of the chrome. With the wheels and tires, definitely for me, wire wheels.
Yep.
It
the
just
wire wheels
suits the style of the car.
The elegance of the car, for sure.
And I'm not so much a fan also of the tire painting.
The white walls.
Yeah, the white walls.
Yeah.
I prefer to go for the full black look.
We can black those out, and we can go with traditional 15-inch size wheels, or we can go slightly larger. We'll have a little wider and larger wheels in 16s that will look tremendous as well, and we can accommodate that for you, of course.
Then we get to the rack on the back and also the exhaust.
Yep.
I think I'd go for the cleaner look without the
luggage.
Without the luggage carrier, but I would like the quad.
The fantail,
The fantail,
it's fantastic.
The fantail. So we'll swap to that system as well.
We go OEM on that one. Terrific.
This is starting to look fabulous.
Oh God, yeah.
So in the interior, we've got the dual tone of the blue. We've got the navy blue carpets, blue upper dash, blue top rolls. We've got the tan areas. We've gone for the wooden steering wheel. We've got the switch gear in the
Yep,
fighter jet style metal.
that's right. Toggle switches look very nice. More on the Series 1 style, but nonetheless, they feel like they belong in that cabin as well.
Absolutely. I think I'd be inclined to move the central tunnel into a navy leather as well.
Okay.
So we can literally just change that to match the same color.
That's right. As you see there, Tyler's going to change it so you can see it. And there we go.
Magic.
Beautiful.
Just comes
The boot
together.
will be as well. Yep.
We've not spoken about powertrain side of things.
Now, of course,
I was pretty set on that from day one. LT4.
LT4. That's going to be a monster of a car, but I love it. I love it. I want to discourage you.
650 horsepower, and probably a manual shifter.
That would be incredible.
Just
a
feels
magic
like
mix.
yeah, just feels like how it should be. There are other features as well, like the screen technology side of things. You can have the
Correct. If you wish to have a larger screen, such as that one, it'll give you a CarPlay, Bluetooth, of course. Again, it will be a larger user interface. So for those folks that are more technology inclined, they can still have something like that emulating a modern car, more so than a classic single-din radio. Having said that, for those folks who are looking to retain the classic look of the cabin, we can do a classic style stereo with Bluetooth. So you can still listen to your music while retaining the look of the original cabin.
So we could now build this even further, right? We could add some bespoke stitching, piping.
Absolutely, you name it. We have diamond stitch shown in there, but of course we can also do piping around the seats. You see already the custom tonneau cover in leather in the back. We can also make that dark blue if you want to match the interior color in there, kind of blend in everything else together. Gauges if you wanted to have different color needles or the faces. All those things could be rearranged, of course, to your liking.
This is stunning. If we take a slightly wider view of it, this is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm just looking at that. It's very me in a color scheme. This is very elegant, I think. It's very blue. I like my blue cars.
That's what it's all about.
It's
all about you.
Can we click our fingers and just make that exist somehow?
We'll do. Give me 6 months. We'll make it happen. Very cool. I love it. And this, I think what our clients love about the experience is how much fun they can have doing it.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're elevating our process and making it very organic, where they can participate, give us their opinion, and check off that we're not missing any angle of the car, and just having a perfect vision of what they have in mind.
It's time to go out for a drive, so let's hear the startup of this car. Beautiful. Right, let's pull it out into the sunshine, and then we will get ready to go for a drive in the LT1 E-Type from ECD Auto Design. Look at this. Beautiful in the green over tan. Park brake off, into drive. Here we go.
That's it.
Oh, this feels cool already.
Very smooth.
This is lovely. I've never driven an E-Type, by the way.
No?
Now's when I choose to tell you
I was
that.
going to say, you're missing out.
I already feel like I've been missing out.
It's very different. You feel like a fancy lady from the 60s.
Oh, this already feels really cool. I like this. I've driven about 30 yards and I'm already loving it. Okay, so it's quite a different sound. But this is, I see the angle behind this, right? The easy to drive. You could daily this.
Right. I mean, that's the whole thing that we try and do with all of our vehicles. It's make it to a point where if you really wanted to, you could drive it as a daily car. So like the exhaust, for example, we did a custom exhaust pretty much all the way to the back of the car, 2.5-inch pipe the whole way, and then we made it up to the original Jaguar fantail. So from the back it looks stock. You wouldn't know, apart from the sound is different. It's like a hybrid of a V12 Jag exhaust system and a Chevy muscle car V8.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I like it.
It feels tiny, the car in general.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very different experience as well to cars nowadays, because like you've got this huge bonnet, giant lump in the middle. It's just very, very different to anything you get now.
But what a feeling. It's a beautiful day. We're here in Florida.
Yeah, it doesn't get better, does it?
I can live with this. This is nice. It's got a nice feel to it. I mean, I'm not full throttle by any means.
No, it's got some power. So we had to detune a little at the low end,
Yeah.
so we could keep the wheels from just spinning. So as you get up through the power band, you'll find you'll get more power out of the car.
Okay. Well, I've just been specking one up, and I might have put an LT4 in it because I did that whole like Jeremy Clarkson power thing.
Yeah.
I feel like an LT1's probably enough.
Yeah, I think the LT4 is going to be an absolute monster in it. Real monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely different to how they came out of the factory.
This is like amazing. Wind in the hair, open. It feels so tiny. It's like the arm on the side, just chill.
People were definitely smaller in the 70s, I'm sure. I don't know what changed. Maybe fast food.
Yeah. Well, there's no shortage for that around here. But just back on the power. Okay. Okay. I don't know, what a time. Like this is the 60s and early 70s, but today,
modernized.
50 years later, what you've done with this car is mix the emotional awesomeness of cars of this age, this genre, with modern reliability, materials, like just that level of update that I guess means you can drive it without feeling like you're going to worry about stuff.
Right. I mean, I think the V12 from the factory was a 5.3, and it created about 200 and something horsepower.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. They just didn't get any power out of them engines back in the early days.
Yeah.
So it's just a game changer when you can throw some modern power into it.
The open road in an E-Type. What an E-Type for the first one I ever drive. I expected it to feel much more wobbly across the road. Yeah. I expected it to just wander around everywhere as older cars often do.
Yeah. So we're running aftermarket, like higher end suspension systems on these cars now. So we can fully adjust front and back.
Yeah.
So what we do, as soon as we've had it sort of set up, like toe, camber adjusted and all that, we'll just sit there and we'll just run and adjust the ride height to get the sort of nice balance with weight in the car and everything like that. But it's a nice quick adjustment as well. So I believe this one's running Coney shocks front and back, and they're adjustable, so we can really play with it and get it set up right. But this one's handling lovely. Like, I really like the feel of this.
This is driving beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, to be out under blue skies here in Florida at this time of year, in my numbers, it's about, what, 30 degrees Celsius?
Yeah, around there.
What are we, nearly 90 Fahrenheit or something?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. This is perfect. These cars built originally in the United Kingdom were not built for this weather.
No.
But I'm not complaining about it.
No, me neither. And we do have AC if we get too warm. Yeah. Lovely.
Just the wind in the hair. That's all you need. All you need.
All right, if you can put your foot down at some point, you'll enjoy it, I promise you.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Chase your Mustang friend. You love them.
That's cool. I wouldn't be unhappy about the extra power of the LT4 though.
No.
And maybe I will go with my LT4.
I told you it's going to be a monster.
How do you put it into words? How do you summarize it? You know, it's just a smile on the face. It's a big smile on the face.
Perfect.
You know you're driving the coolest car on the road right now.
Right, that's it. There isn't anything else around here that's this good.
No.
By a long shot. No, it's smooth.
Yeah, really
nice.
smooth. And quite easy to drive, slow speed. You can't complain about visibility. You can see quite a lot in here.
We also changed the power steering rack to be a quicker lock to lock.
Okay.
So it's a much nicer feel, less lazy feeling. The originals were quite slow and cumbersome, but this is quite refined and sharp.
I don't think I need a reversing camera.
No.
Turn your head. Roll it back.
Job done.
Oh, the shade is nice.
Yes.
I do learn to appreciate that a lot.
Lovely. Nice one, mate.
Gotta line it up. There we go. What a drive, thank you.
Lovely.
That was epic.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
This has been a really cool day. We've come out, taken a look at ECD Auto Design's new E-Type. We've then been with Charles around the production to see the assembly of the cars, how they go from the original models to being fully stripped down and then built back up. We've spec'd up one with John, future Shmeemobile, who knows? And then been out for a drive with Elliott in this car, the LT1 example as opposed to the electric, to see what it's about, to experience the drive. The first time I've been at the wheel of an E-Type. An awesome day. These are immensely cool, and we've only scratched on the surface of it all in terms of specification, in terms of what you can do, the elements that you can make bespoke, from dashboard trims to inlays to stitching to piping. They work completely with the customer to make this unique experience, to bring an icon back exactly as they've done very successfully with the Defenders, as we saw the last time we came out here to Florida, got to drive one of those and take a look as well. Taking these British icons out here in the United States and making them into something even more special, effectively a new car in the modern day. This has been awesome. A big thanks to the entire team though for hosting the visit today. A big thanks to you guys for watching, and if you'd like any further information, I'll pop the links down below as well for ECD Auto Design. But today, it's been the E-Type. It's an iconic legend. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.